Hello and welcome, everyone. We are here playing Checkpoint Midnight. This is Spies in the City of Dreams, session 1 of 4. We are playing thanks to the Gauntlet gaming community. You can check them out at gauntlet-rpg.com to find out all about the cool things that the Gauntlet is doing all the time. And the game we are playing is called Checkpoint Midnight. This is an in-development game about supernatural operatives in Cold War Vienna. You can learn about Checkpoint Midnight by going to bit.ly/checkpointmidnightlist. The game is being developed by Cloven Pine Games. That is my game design handle. And Cloven Pine Games can be found on Twitter and on itch.io. Let's introduce our party of players. I'll start us off, and I'm going to have everybody follow this format. Say your name, your pronouns if you wish, your online handle if you so desire, and what brought you to play in this game today. So my name is Alexi Sargent, he, him. You can follow my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and on itch.io. And I was excited by the prospect of bringing together spy fiction and the supernatural and setting it in an extremely storied and historic city. So thus, Checkpoint Midnight, the game of supernatural operatives in Cold War Vienna. Very excited to be testing this out with these fine folks. So going in character keeper order, let's start off with Puckett.
Hi there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Quite happy to be here. And are we introducing characters now as well?
We'll do that afterwards.
Got it.
Josh, you're next.
I am Josh, he, him pronouns. I thought that just the combination of supernatural fiction and spy fiction was interesting to experiment with. So I'm looking forward to the coming game.
Excellent. Great to have you here. And finally, Sabine.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I read that this was a game set in Vienna with supernatural elements and not like the normal, usual vampire, werewolf, hobbit thingies, but something more surreal maybe, and that seemed very interesting to me. And I'm still trying to make my peace with the city of Vienna. So, well.
Excellent. Good to have you. And certainly this is a game where many characters are still trying to make their peace with the city of Vienna as well. So let's get into it. Let's talk about these characters. These are all characters that are, supernatural operatives of some sort who are working in the shadows of Vienna in about the 1950s, when the city is still controlled by still divided up into 4 quarters and controlled by the great powers. So there's a US sector, there's a British sector and a French sector and a Soviet sector. And the middle sector of the city, the historic district, changes hands on a regular basis as per the treaty from the end of the war. So starting us off, Puckett, tell us a little about your character. I'll share my screen up here so we can see the picture you've chosen.
Well, you had me the moment you said undead Steve Rogers. But I took that idea and kind of twisted it a bit, as
one
might. He's basically a reassembled, vaguely, mostly humanoid person-like thing. But he's not happy about it. I mean, if you had finally had the decency to die, would you be happy about being brought back? So Jack Hardesty is not thrilled, and he's hunting. And he's not just hunting spies. He's not just hunting for opponents of an ideology. He's hunting the people who did this to him. He has a weird mechanical left leg because when they brought him back, they were short on left legs. And somebody in the lab kind of cobbled one together out of pipes and tubes and pistons and some gears and that sort of thing. It's pretty quiet as far as such things go, but due to the interesting circumstances of his revival, he can still kind of get feelings about the person who brought him back, who crafted this thing, which may pop up in interesting and unanticipated ways. He has the skills War is Hell and I Love It, which is when you resort to violence against someone you judge to have really deserved it, choose an additional option, even on a miss, and pierce the veil just to make it weird. You have gazed on the face of death, and she gazed back. Give death leverage over you to ask her one of the following questions. You'll get an honest answer, and perhaps later a task. I was in the 101st Airborne in the war, and I can't do that anymore because they tend to require that soldiers have a pulse and be completely human to serve. And it was less of a brush with death and more of the whole damn paint roller. And the clarity it brought me is that we all get what's coming to us, some of us sooner than others. And I came to Vienna because I worried that if I was anywhere else, someone from my old life might recognize me. But here, everybody seems to have one of those faces where you kind of sort of think you recognize them, but you can't be sure, but they still look pretty familiar. So it's easy to blend in and hide. My contact is a low-level skippy from that godforsaken hellhole of a research lab named Gordon Mackenzie. And I would have killed him already, but he keeps telling me that he can tell me who else was there so that I can stop them from doing this again. And every time he tells me something about that, he buys himself another week or two.
I see. So he's just slowly selling people out to stay alive, huh?
Yeah. He'll die last. I'm not sure what kind of comfort that brings him. Maybe he figures he can get away before that happens. He can't.
Let me ask: Was Jack Hardesty your name before all this happened? Like, how much do you remember of life before they put you back together?
Vague flashes. I was American. I know that. I remember my unit.
Screaming Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you how it feels to have bullets ripping through you. I can tell you how it feels to slowly bleed out and feel your lungs filling up with blood. But, beyond like vague flashes of growing up on a farm and running around as a kid and liking baseball, I couldn't tell you who my parents were. My name before all this was Jack something or other. I just picked Hardesty because, well, when you're not really alive, what's a name? It's just something they carve on a tombstone, right?
Sure. Sure. And so you've got a 1,000-yard stare, you've got a concealing long coat. That makes sense to me. And under that long coat, sometimes carrying around a semi-automatic pistol and a few grenades.
It depends on whether I'm working quietly or whether I don't care if things get loud. If things go completely pear-shaped, if they get turned completely upside down, I've got the 45 and some grenades because I don't care if things get loud at that point. The rest of the time, silence 22, knife, some piano wire. Nothing fancy.
Another piece of your gear is a memento of someone you've lost touch with. Do you have a thought about what that is? What Jack has held on to here?
Let's see. Apparently, they gave me what I was carrying when I died.
Sure.
And there is a locket with a black and white photo of a woman on it, and I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
It looks old.
Isn't that all? When you look at it, do you have any sort of sense of who she was to you? Like, do you think that's my mother? Do you think that's a sweetheart? Like, do you have any sort of feelings left over from this locket, or just the picture itself, and that's all you got to go on?
The only feeling I have left is a burning desire for revenge. So I can look at this locket and think that it must have been somebody important to me, because why in the hell else would I have carried it into combat? But as far as feelings or sentiments go, whoever it was, if they aren't dead now, they will be. Maybe they live 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't know. That's not my sort of knowledge.
Yeah.
I hope I wish them well, whoever they are. I hope they're happy.
And the other type of memento you're still carrying is some sort of mark of death. An unnerving pallor or grave dirt under the fingernails. What is it you've kind of brought back with you from the other side?
I'm pale as hell because while they could put a body together, they couldn't do much with the circulatory system. So I always look like I haven't seen the sun in a while.
Somehow enough to keep you up and kicking, but there's a real pallor to you. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, in a gray city, well, who sees the sunlight that much anyway?
Anything else we should definitely know about Jack Hardesty before we move forward here?
I'm going to find the people who did this to me. And if they're nice about it, I'll kill them quick. And in the meantime, I'll do whatever I need to do to get by in this city. But I'm not going to betray my country.
All right. Well, good to have you in the mix, Jack Hardesty. Josh, you're up next. Tell us a little about your character, please.
Yeah, so I'm playing Viola Conroy, who is a dodger. She is specifically favored by some sort of questionably motivated supernatural being, which has blessed her with luck and just sort of generally things working out well. She is an American who has been floating around Europe for a while. Most recently, she was in Paris. She failed to pay rent and was chased out by the landlord, and had to leave Paris to avoid his wrath. So now she is in Vienna and has been for some months. She is not damaged by falling, which is something that I have to imagine must have been a very surprising thing to find out.
How does that work for her? Like she falls and lands on her feet, or she falls and there's just always something to catch her, or she falls and just brushes herself off and realizes, well, no injuries again, huh?
It is if she falls from a distance that would be enough to injure or otherwise, knock the wind out of you. There is a brief moment, if you were to look at her falling, where you sort of can't focus on her, and then she is standing on the ground, I think.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Keep going. Tell us a little more.
So she is exceptionally good at running confidence games, whether that is a natural skill or something blessed onto her, or a combination of the two. She is currently planning on stealing a very small but incredibly intricate and beautiful Van Eyck portrait, which is being held in the Natural History Museum, and which she wants to hang up on the wall of the apartment that she is squatting in. And she has come into contact with and has been establishing a relationship with Victor von Starenberg, who is a puffed up bureaucrat in the governor's office, who comes from a good noble family, which is no longer aristocratically noble, but still is very wealthy.
Sure.
But Victor von Starenberg appears to have caught on, at least somewhat, whether that is part of the plan or not. So now Victor von Starenberg and I have leverage on each other.
How did you give yourself away, or how did he figure out that you were not just an innocent American in Vienna, but a con woman of some sort?
Well, I had been interacting with him at the governor's office,
Hmm.
and that is where I had been, sort of laying the groundwork. And then I saw him at a ball, and he recognized me and realized that I clearly had connections that I wasn't letting on.
Hmm. So you're kind of circling each other. It sounds like you've encountered him in multiple contexts enough to feel like he maybe has the sense that you're working the angles here.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got blessed. You say something supernatural has given you this favor such that this luck attends you. What was that like for Viola?
Yes. So there is something incredibly old that she came into contact with. I think she manifested this gift while she was in Europe already, and I think she was in like an ancient, like a tomb, and she was touring it, and she came across just like a little side hall in this crypt, and she went down and she found a very peculiar tomb, and she doesn't remember exactly what happened, but there is in the Imperial Crypt in Vienna, which she visited when she got to Vienna, there is a coffin in it with a script written on it that is unlike anything she knows. And when she saw that, she was sure it is related, and she now tries to avoid the Imperial Crypt because she feels sort of an urge when she's near to go towards it and, give in to it.
So it sounds like, unlike Jack, who's working hard to shut down anything connected to the thing that brought him back, Viola's mostly content to ignore and avoid anything connected to what gave her special gifts. Does that sound right?
Yes, I think she is more than pleased to take advantage of her gifts, but she is not particularly enthused about becoming a servant of some sort of ancient inhuman creature living in European nobility.
Anything else we should definitely know about Viola? Your gear, perhaps. Give us a little rundown there.
Yeah, so she lives in a comfortable apartment, which she is squatting in. She has a sleek car, and she carries around a small pack of gilded cards. She has an ivory-handled pistol, which is very fancy, and she doesn't like to show it, but she, conceals it just in case. And something about her eyes just doesn't seem quite human. If you really, really stare into them, it's not noticeable at a glance. It's not particularly noticeable even if you are paying very close attention. But at the right angle, there's just something in her eyes that is that just feels wrong.
Would someone describe it as an unusual color or an unusual kind of brightness or some other aspect that strikes you as wrong?
I think it's just sort of the way that she looks at the world, right?
Okay, so it's not so much about the eyes in a way you could kind of capture on camera. It's about her gaze.
Yeah, there's just something about it that feels distinctly inhuman if you were to be paying incredibly close attention.
Very, very cool. Okay, anything else you should definitely know about Viola?
I think that is most of it.
Very good. Well, lovely to meet you, and let's move on and hear about Sabine's character. So, tell us a little about this character.
Okay, I'm going to play Ophidar Selma. Ophidar is a gorgon. He is a serpent-crowned child of Echidna, queen and mother of monsters,
Yes.
and he can turn people into stone. if he really wants to, or sometimes maybe if he doesn't really want to. So it's not entirely always. Well, I mean, it's usually that he wants to, but sometimes he gets upset, I guess, or surprised, and then he forgets that you can't just look at human people full on and then they will turn to stone. A pity, because you can't turn them back. So
that is tricky.
That's tricky. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, maybe they feel better being turned to stone. Who knows? Maybe that's not so bad. I mean, humans die and stones lives forever. Might be kind of nice. They can get wet. They don't get cold. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not stone. I wouldn't want to be stone, truthfully. Yeah. Anyway, Offidar arrived in this world. He is pretty good at threading the labyrinthine byways that link this city and the Nether Realm, and he weaves in and out of both places. What he actually has come to really appreciate about Vienna is the music and the tales, because in his mother's hall there's always so much decorum, and there are lots of statues, and statues are nice, but you can't really talk to them, and they don't really make any kind of sounds a lot. I mean, you can listen to them, and at one point you will think they do, but
are the statues people who have failed to observe decorum in his mother's court?
Oh, some probably, but mostly there's just humans who were thought interesting for some reason, and then were brought over. And some obviously are actual stone beings who like standing still, or not, or are actual statues who somebody carved from stone. So it's hard to tell, really, if this is. So you should always be polite.
Fair enough.
Never know. Yeah. What else do I tell you? Yeah, he has. I think he lives with his cousin, actually, Galathea Selma. She's quite amused to artists and stonemasons, and she's always present at salons and stuff like that. And she knows a lot about stones and about what looks good in stones. And she sometimes will produce the most amazing statues. But she's not like me. She can't turn people into stone with her gaze. I don't know how she does that. Really, they're mostly small stones, small statues of more valuable stones. So I don't know how she does that. Maybe she just has a skill.
So she's your cousin. Does that mean she came from the Nether Realm too, or is she someone? Yeah. Okay. So she's kind of another.
I think so. That's what I assume.
But you don't talk about this. There's sort of a this is one of those codes of decorum. You don't ask if someone's from the Nether Realm.
No, of course you don't. I mean, that would insinuate that they would somehow not be fit to be there, and that is very insulting. You can't do it.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. What are you seeking in Vienna yourself, Offidar?
Well, my mother. Well, first of all, I got sent here. I was once a favorite child at my mother's court, but I left under a cloud of ugly rumors because. Apparently, I'm not all that ambitious. I just get a proper way of doing things, and most of those rumors, they were so boring. Actually, they were just like the usual rumors, like he did not pay correct attention to the hall of statue and entered from the left instead of from the right, which is the right way to do it. Come on, everybody has this rumor about them. Everybody, it's just so boring. And I left really because I want to hear juicier rumors that are actually mean or nice or whatever. Like not always the same thing. Really, I was pretty bored. at my mother's court anyway. And then she told me, yeah, go to Vienna. They have nice statues there, and they have nice stones, and bring me statues and stone things for my halls and decorations, but only the proper ones, child. You know what I want. And of course, I said, yeah, sure. And now I'm here, and what I'm really looking for is music and things like that, stories and music, and I like stories.
What do you have to trade? What are you bringing to the table if you're trying to get, on some level trying to get these statues for your mom, but mostly trying to get music and stories for yourself? What do you have to offer?
I know stories. I mean, I can exchange. I have a move actually for that. I regale a denizen of Vienna with tales of the Nether Realm or vice versa. Then I can get leverage on them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm pretty good at, and also of course I gather up stones here and there because there are byways. You can go in some places and out some other places, and people don't know that, and then they don't pay attention, and then they leave stuff unattended, and if stuff is unattended, it goes missing sometimes. It's just the world.
If they wanted to keep it, they shouldn't have left it near a byway to the Nether Realm. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Or a byway to Vienna. To be honest, I'm not that person. I will take stuff from both sides and just use it for my own amusement mostly. I mean, I'm not mean-spirited, but I'm a bit selfish, I guess.
Real quick, tell me the gear you've picked out for Ophodar.
Yeah, Ophodar has these serpentine daggers, several of them actually, and he also, what does he also have? He has those snake tattoos, or are they tattoos? They more look like actually like carvings, really. But you don't. How would you get them to do that and then move? That's not possible. Also, his hair is occasionally not really moving with the wind or anything. It's just moving a little. Mostly he
doing its own thing.
So, yeah, mostly he keeps it in a braid because human people get weirded out by that. And he the way he walks between worlds is there are these stone arcs and there is a wall behind them. They look like they're arcs, but there's a wall. But that's not always a wall, really. Really a passageway.
Got it. So where others see a wall, he's able to see a passageway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like a graduation speech, just extremely literal.
Yeah.
Anything else we should know about Ophodar?
Yeah, he usually doesn't look people in the eye. Because I mean, as I said, it doesn't necessarily have to happen that people turn to stone, but if he loses control, but he can, yeah. If he loses control or gets too emotional, then it might happen. So he usually doesn't. And his eyes are a bit remarkable because he's a dark-skinned person, and he has these light gray eyes that look like kind of light stones. Stands out a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever a downturned gaze, probably smart to kind of keep a lower profile with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I think it's time to go back around and hammer out the relationships among these characters. Jumping back to Jack Hardesty, tell me your relationship questions, and let's see if folks want to volunteer or if you have thoughts about who you'd point them
My
at.
relationship questions. Blank is worth fighting for if only you could understand, if only you could convince them of that. So who doesn't feel like they're worth fighting for?
Why would anyone fight for me? What would be the use? And fighting is useless anyway. Just turn it to stone.
All right. Well, I think that. Okay, Alexi, I'm having some weirdness with the character keeper.
Yeah.
Trying to put Ophidar's name in the blank spot under blank is worth fighting for, and it keeps pulling up H lookup.
Yeah, put it. Go down one cell and just put it in there where it says PC name.
Gotcha. Okay.
The questions auto populate in the character keeper, and so you can't edit them quite like that. But if you just put it into the white cell below, we'll know what it means.
You are one of those spreadsheet ninjas, aren't you?
I learned some interesting tricks, but of course, they're not useful if they're going to throw people off. So I need to think how I present the way to interact with the spreadsheet. Cool. And
and then I have one other one. You've shared with blank the worries that keep you up at night. Why? And I'm thinking that's Viola, and possibly because, well, Viola's human, and I'm like
mostly
80% human.
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, maybe you can't relate to knowing how it feels to literally die and then be brought back when you were resting and then have to do all of this nonsense over again. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you've had a feeling at some point, so maybe.
Yeah, it works.
What are the worries in particular that are that you've shared, Jack?
What if I can't die again? What if I'm stuck like this?
How did Viola react to that?
It's a good question. I think that Viola is probably. I think Viola does not take death very seriously.
Since you can just jump out of the 13th story window and be fine.
Yeah. So I feel like it's a complaint that doesn't really make sense to her, because I think she is inclined very much to live as hard and as long as possible.
I wonder if anyone's pointed out to her that those could be in tension with each other, but that's fair. Just to check back about that first relationship, why is it that Jack thinks Ophidar specifically is worth fighting for and should be convinced of this fact?
Because as much as I hate it now, actually being alive was worth something.
And Ophidar might not be human, but is alive.
Yeah, I mean, I had friends, I had people who valued me. It didn't matter. It was war. We had to do some pretty not nice things to some even less nice people. But people still valued who I was. They still treated me like I was someone worth fighting next to, worth fighting for, worth fighting alongside, even taking a bullet for. And I may not remember them very well, but I remember that somebody once thought I was worth fighting for.
All right. While we're over here, why don't you check down towards your leverage question, because that'll tell you how you give out leverage to other PCs.
For better or worse, the future will depend on these people. You're sure of it. Give leverage to 3 other PCs. Jesus Christ, we are so screwed.
There's so everybody has some leverage over you, Jack. Why does the future depend on them?
I have a lot of gut feelings these days, and I can't necessarily articulate why I have them. Maybe it has something to do with the way that I was brought back, or how I was brought back, or I don't know.
Seeing beyond the veil for a moment there.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of stuff I just do on instinct these days, and I can't tell you why, but a lot of times it turns out to be the right move. You know, maybe all these grafted parts I have on me actually have some kind of weird muscle memory or something like that. Maybe there's some kind of instinct that came along with them, and I kind of have impulses related to that. You know, I don't know. Maybe my arm was from a psychiatrist or something. Maybe my other arm was from a strategist or a planner. You know, all I know is that this leg came from somebody who looked like they failed auto shop.
Nice. So, and those kind of instincts are part of what's telling you that these people are important.
Yeah. And beyond that, I couldn't tell you why. I mean, we've got somebody who doesn't look at people, and we've got somebody who jumps out of buildings. Not sure how that's going to save the world. Not sure how that's going to be important. But being able to jump out of buildings is a hell of a useful skill. And, you know, not looking at people, we'll figure out what we can do with that, I'm sure.
This is great. Yeah. These are what you've got to work with.
And then it says give leverage to 3 other PCs, but there's only 2 other PCs. So does one PC take 2 leverage, or does that just go someplace else?
That's hilarious. Yeah, give 2 leverage to one of them, because leverage does stack. You can accrue multiple leverage and then spend more of it when you exert leverage. So who gets more leverage over you between the 2 of them?
I think during that long dark night of the soul, when I was talking to Viola about how it feels to not be dead anymore, that's worth another leverage there.
Yeah, maybe you opened up more there than you have to other people, and
more than I should have.
Yeah, whether or not she seems to know or care, she knows she knows more about this journey you've been on than anybody else does. If that sounds all right by you.
Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, it looks like everybody's got leverage on me. Like even my NPC has leverage on me.
Well, this will be fun.
There's no way this could go wrong.
Yeah,
that's fine.
All right, thank you so much, Puckett. Let's see the other relationship questions. Viola, tell me about the ones you've got there.
Yeah, so I have blank caught you trying to steal something from them. What was it? Do you respect or resent them for letting you off with a warning?
Oh man, yeah. What do you think? And does anyone feel like they're the one who caught Viola trying to steal something and chose not to, chose to let her off with a warning?
I think Ophid is probably the only one with anything worth stealing that would have been of notice to Viola.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have stuff. It's mostly Galathea stuff or my mother's stuff, but that's probably why I was like, oh, yeah, sure, don't do that again. Could get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you respect or resent Ophida for that?
I think I resent a little bit.
Yeah,
it's sort of cheating.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was taking the whole thing seriously anyway. He wasn't like upset or anything. It was more like, oh, come on, what are you doing? It's Ophidar. My name is wrong. I thought I'd go with a female, but then I thought, no, wait, this could be a guy.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Maybe when we take our break, pop in and out of the switch it up. That works. Cool. Viola, your other question there.
And then you crave Blank's attention, but you're playing it cool. So I guess that leaves Jack.
Hi.
Yeah. Tell me about that. What's so interesting about him to you, and why the coyness?
Well, I think as much as I do not understand his fear of immortality, it is exceedingly interesting, you know, because I crave, because I am so obsessed with living and enjoying myself forever. It seems like, you know, an immortal person would be pretty good at that if he would loosen up a little bit.
You mind another suggestion on that? Just to kind of deepen it?
Yeah, sure.
I probably don't have much of an emotional spectrum. So you might see it as a challenge to try to get my attention as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that works for both of you, that's interesting to me. One last question that I realized I should have clarified. What exactly were you trying to steal from Ophidar?
Probably a statue.
Oh,
One of the little mini ones, or one of like
There's something small enough to sneak in and grab.
yeah. Probably good thing that you didn't take that one. I found it wrapped around somebody's neck some nights later. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I haven't told you that yet.
You found the statue wrapped around somebody's neck, like it had been bent into a murder weapon.
No, like it had somehow, I don't know, maybe try to caress the person. Maybe try to kind of.
I see. So the statue made a mistake there, you think?
I don't know if the statue made a mistake or if it's just a mean statue. I don't know. I just go and steal it.
All right. Your leverage, Viola. What have you got there?
I have, despite your facade, you care a lot about how other people think of you. Give leverage to all but one of the other PCs.
So in this case, all but one is going to be one of these two. Who gets the leverage between them?
I think probably Ophidar.
So Ophidar has more leverage over you, despite some of the personal stakes in your relationship with Jack. You don't feel as much that Jack has any leverage to exert over you.
Yeah.
I mean, she tried to steal from me, and I was pretty cool about it, but might still make a thing of it, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Very good, very good. Then let's go to Ophidar. Tell me about your relationship questions.
Yeah, I've been keeping somebody supplied with their poison of choice.
And that can be interpreted, loosely or kind of literally. So tell me a little about what you're thinking there, and if anyone has a thought about what they could be being supplied with from Ophidar, feel free to share it as well.
I mean, I would be interested in supplying Jack with some kind of poison of his choice. Could be some expensive drinking stuff.
Yeah, can Jack get drunk or experience that sort of thing anymore?
I was actually just thinking about that, and how liberally can we use poison?
I'm pretty open to wide interpretations of it. What do you have in mind?
Actual poison for assassinations.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my mother.
I've never been undead, but I can't imagine that the taste buds fare better after death than they do before. So maybe there's some really, really unusual underworld poisons that Ophidar can bring back that are just untraceable and untrackable.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a sister who has hair made of snakes, and each of these snakes has a different venom.
Or like really, really effective truth serums that don't require torture or anything like that. You just get to have conversations with people. So I'm thinking actual chemicals that would be useful in the spy trade that are just not available anywhere else.
I see. So there's kind of things from the netherworld that Ophidar brings you that make you more effective at the work you've taken on.
Yeah.
That work for you, Ophidar? You like that idea? All right. And that works for that relationship. And then one more relationship question here. Ophidar, what do you have there?
Myself. Something about blank helps keep life in this world more interesting than back home, and I'm pretty sure that's Viola. I mean, come on, she's interesting. I don't understand her at all, but she's interesting.
What particularly intrigues you about this human woman?
The way I think it's her eyes. There's something about her gaze I can figure out.
Oh,
and
man.
I can't look all the time because I don't want to turn her into stone. I'm pretty scared of that, actually.
So you're like stealing glances at her eyes, but not holding her gaze because of to keep her safe, obviously, and for no other reason.
Yeah, sure. If that's okay with you, Josh. Cool.
I like these two characters with some weirdness going on with their eyes. A kind of sometimes snatching these moments of connection and then otherwise not able to have eye contact. Yeah, totally. Ophidar, your leverage question there.
Yeah, don't do that, character keeper. Am I muted? No. Okay, sorry.
No, you're on.
Cool. Everybody's in this town's got a record of some sort, but yours is especially sensitive. Give leverage to 2 PCs who know what you're up to. Okay. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my record would mostly be the kind of the stuff that I move from the netherworld to the Vienna and back, trying to find the right objects. That's probably the record. It's not the thing that interests me most, but still, about that.
It's sort of a side mission compared to your own kind of interest in stories and music, sounds like.
So you're like you handle shipping between the overworld and the underworld, and like you're dealing with kind of bartering?
I don't handle shipping. No, this is my op. This is my thing. I take things and transport them between the worlds.
It's more of a bespoke special order type deal here.
Okay.
It's my gig.
Do you have a storefront or anything like that for it? Or is
I like that idea, actually. Yeah. I mean, I said that I live with my cousin, but I might have a little curio shop or something like that with lots of antiquity thingies.
And oddities and
stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
That works for me if that works for you, yeah.
I really like that.
Sure. It's called the Gorgon's Gaze.
Yeah.
When I came there first, so sorry, sue me.
It was just already called that, and it's like, well, I guess it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Bet there's a curtain blocking off the back room where you keep the special stock.
No, there's a curtain, right? There are I think there are 2 ways out. One is the curtain where you go if you're a normal human person or not so normal human person, you go in there and have a coffee and look at stuff. And the other one, if you're not me or someone like me, we'll just see a blank wall behind the curtain. But it's not.
I bet you've got a really good coffee machine there, don't you?
Yeah.
Probably,
I mean,
my undead tongue could probably even taste it.
don't eat my coffee machine, please.
I meant the coffee, not the machine.
Yeah, okay. I sometimes have a bit of a hard time tasting the finer nuances of stuff around here.
Same.
All right. We got some relationships and leverage shared around. I say we take a little break here, and then when we come back, we go ahead and drop into a mission and see some of these characters in action. Sound good?
Yeah, Alexei, I have a question. Because I wasn't signed up for this, I couldn't see how long the session is going to last.
Yeah, I'll aim to wrap by 6 or so, and then we can do some
for 3 hours or for 4 hours. I'm sorry, because you're 6 o'clock. I have no idea when that is in my time.
Good point. I put down 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours is fine. Okay.
But I'll aim to wrap on the earlier side, and we can do a little feedback and such afterwards. And
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right. For now, let's take 12 minutes.
Cool.
So that we come back on an even time and come back at 20 of the hour. See you all back here then.
I usually use other earbuds, but I destroyed mine yesterday.
Oh no! What happened?
I was tired, I was yawning, I was moving my arms recklessly, and then the earbud flew out of my ear, and the tiny little thingy that goes into the ear flew off, and now it's somewhere on the ground and I can't find it. So I use these. They seem fine though, but they're shorter and the other one is here, and it's not it's not what I'm used to anyway. And I thought, oh well, you can go and buy a new one, and I realized no, I can't. Stores are closed.
Yeah. And it really bothers me because Amazon, well, certain Amazon warehouses in the US are on strike, and I don't cross picket lines, but at the same time, there's stuff that we're getting that only Amazon can deliver at this point. So, and it's not like it's a convenience thing. This is kind of necessary that we just can't get anywhere. Like all the stores around here have been sold out of scrubbing sponges to do dishes.
Oh,
You need those scrubbing sponges.
Yeah. We were down to one, and it was literally basically torn in half. And it's like, so, we're going to need to order cat food at some point. Good times. Good times.
All right. Looks like we are all back. Good. So we've gotten the chance to meet these characters. I'm excited about what sort of mischief they're going to be getting up to in Cold War Vienna. And I thought let's start off by dropping into the thick of things and kind of posit a mission here, and then make a roll to see how the mission is going as we started off. So you'll see in the Character Keeper there is a tab for mission moves, and that's what I'm going to be turning to here, where I'll lay out a few of the parameters of a mission, and then we're going to make that embark on a mission roll in order to see how things are going and get a little action in here as we start getting to know these characters a little better by seeing them in the field. So here's the setup. The three of you have worked together, right? In your own for your own disparate reasons, you've had need to take on these missions, these jobs in the shadows of this city, and the three of you have been together on some of these missions in the past, and another one that has come across your radar and that you're embarking on today is a mission that you were offered by Norbert Jakowiak, who is a wealthy scholarly Pole. He's serving some sort of cultural attaché function in the Soviet sector of the city. Slightly unclear what all of his official capacities are, but word got around among the people moving in the shadows of the city that he had a job and was willing to pay handsomely for it. And when you met with him, and he was impressed by what he saw, he offered a handsome sum for you to acquire a particular cigar for him. He shares with you that Mark Miles, the heir to an American barbed wire magnate, right? So this scion of wealth from the United States has been gallivanting across Europe, and he has come to Vienna. And Jakowiak is interested in a particular cigar in Miles's possession. The cigar is wrapped in black paper. There's the initials VPS on it. He didn't give you a lot more details than that, but you're supposed to bring this, acquire the cigar somehow from Mark Miles and bring it back to your benefactor here, your patron for this mission. So let's ask some questions and make a roll and get into this thing. There's a mission move for when you embark on a mission with allies, and we answer some questions about it, starting with, do you have good intel about the mission? how do people feel about that? Enough intel to be working with, or not quite? Yeah, Jack.
Do we ever have enough intel to be working with?
I think you at least know that know the hotel where Mark is staying, because he's hosting these parties there every night, right? Where the kind of the people of the city who are devotees of culture have been gathering, because in this post-war city, only so many things have opened back up, and so if this wealthy American is willing to come and throw money around for folks to hobnob and drink champagne, they're willing to congregate there. So we'll say that we'll give the hotel a name. We'll say that Hotel Habsburg is where Mr. Miles has been having these gatherings. But it sounds like you're not sure that if that's enough. So that's all right. If there isn't a yes, then we'll just move on.
I mean, I have this cousin who is a socialite. She might have a way to get us in there.
That might be the answer to the next question. Do you have resources or connections that will help with this mission? It sounds like yes.
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Doesn't
So
Viola
you
do
think
that on her own?
as a resource because of her experience, conning people?
Yeah.
Could be. Viola, you feel prepared for this?
Yeah, I think Viola. This is probably in her wheelhouse.
Between Viola then and Ophidar being able to call on his cousin Galatea, we'll go ahead and give you a yes to that question from the mission move. So then we need to ask: does everyone participating trust the leader's competence and intentions? There's a question buried within there, which is, who is the leader?
I think it should be Viola, because as Jack just said, she is the one who knows about conning people, so she should be the leader. And in leading us to steal a cigar, I would totally trust her.
Viola, do you believe that you're the leader?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Jack, do you agree that Viola is the leader for this mission?
Seems to be the one.
Do you trust her competence and intentions?
Competence, yes. Intentions, well,
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Ophidar, do you trust Viola's competence and intentions?
Competence, totally. Tensions. Oh, wow.
Viola, do you trust your own competence and intentions?
Very much so.
Okay, all right. I think you're skating by on that. I think that was enough to go on. If I were being more of a harsh judge, I might dock something for not everyone being totally sure of Viola's intentions, but we'll keep on going. Last question here is everyone being upfront about their own agendas and motives for the mission? Which gives me a chance to ask all of you, what is it that drew you to this mission, and have you shared it with with your fellow operatives here? Going back around, Jack, what's your motive? Are you being upfront?
My motive right now is a paycheck.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Simple enough. Viola?
I think much the same. Viola is not gainfully employed and could use a little income boost.
Yeah, I mean, this is her job, right? Pulling this off, keeping ahead of the law, and keeping things interesting for those who have stuff worth burgling. That all seems fine, right? Ophidar, how about you?
I don't think I'm in for the money. It's going to be a party, and hey, if something goes wrong and the cigarette needs to be smoked, I mean, I smoke a lot. I'm not that upfront about it. I'm just nodding and smiling, but really, I couldn't be. I'm not that bothered about the whole thing.
So you don't care about the payout. You're interested in the fun of the thing, but you aren't saying
Yeah.
that loud to everybody.
Yeah. Yes, because I mean, I get the point that these two are making, and that would be undecorous, I guess, to tell them that just to ignore the money, and might have consequences that I don't want to have them. That don't want them to have. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, but
No worries, no worries. So it sounds like the answer to is everyone being upfront about their own agendas and motives for the mission is no. So you get a +1 for each yes and a -1 for each no on those two different lists, and that flattens out to a flat roll. So Viola, as the leader, you have the honor of making this roll, and it's just a real unmodified roll here. I'm just popping up our roll for your party. So, Josh, are you in there and able to roll 2?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
All right. So, as in most Powered by the Apocalypse games, our dice are always going to be 2d6, and then we see if we get a hit, which is anything 7 or above. A strong hit is 10+, because 7 through 9 is a hit with a partial success and some kind of complication, or a miss, which is 6-, in which case you're more in my hands. And there's some specifications to exactly how that translates into this mission roll, but let's roll the dice and find out.
That is a 4 and a 6, a 10.
You are a lucky devil indeed. All right, so things are going swimmingly, right? On a 10+, you're golden. We pick up with you already in the midst of the mission, having dealt with the first obstacle and coming from a position of strength. So this is perfect. Let's paint the scene together and incorporate that position of strength into this, right? So Viola, as the leader, I'll let you start us off. What do we see, right, as the story opens up, and the camera, let's say, is showing us glimpses of this hotel and the glittering people coming into it. What do we see that shows people have kind of enjoying the chance to just kind of breathe easier at this gathering, away from the reminders of war, and how has Viola kind of taken advantage of this to move past anything that might have blocked your access to the party?
Yeah, I think so it is this very fancy hotel.
Oh yeah.
And there's the hotel lobby, which is already all dark wood and leather, and then there's like a private smoking area in the back, and Viola just walks straight in the front door, and the busboy at the hotel turns to stop her, and I assume that Jack and Ophidar are probably with as her +2, and the busboy comes in and starts to stop her, and she just has an air of confidence and just completely brushes him off and literally just walks in and fits in like a piece of scenery.
Is it one of those things where for a moment the busboy seems hesitant and then you gesture to whoever's right behind you and say, "Oh, don't worry, they're with me," and then sweep them in while he stands there speechless?
Yeah. He's about to stop. He's like, "I'm sorry, do you have a room?" And I don't even listen. I'm like, "No, move aside, boy." And I toss him a nickel or something.
Great. All right. So on her way in, unimpeded, Viola. Ophidar, are you coming with Viola? Or are you coming with your cousin to do a two-pronged attack here? What's your strategy?
Seems like a good strategy, that not to have all of our eggs in one basket. And also, I know that my cousin likes to show me around.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me just a little more about about your entrance here, then, especially kind of how you can tell that this is an event that people have gotten their fanciest studs out for, and what your kind of cousin's attitude about it overall is.
Well, my cousin is dressed to the nines, I guess. Very fancy dress, sparkly stuff that she likes. She likes wearing sparkly stuff, and she's talked my ear off about what I should wear. So I'm wearing, I guess, some kind of light summer suit. And she tells me not to wear those sunglasses. That is just gauche. I can't. So I'm not wearing them. Bit uncomfortable actually, because there are lots of people. But still seems nice enough. There is a lot of crystal glasses, and people keep talking about what kind of wine they are drinking and where it's coming from, and things like that. You can see some of the artwork on the walls or on those columns. It's really quite nice. Also, the potted plants are dusted to perfection.
What's the piece of artwork that catches your eye as you come in, Ofidar?
I think that would have to be a piece of art. It's a painting, I guess, and it's one of the modern ones. I think a Klimt painting, you know, one of these with golden tones on a woman's face, and I think he likes that. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you can make eye contact with someone in a painting, and nothing bad happens from that. So that kind of fascination with the face for Klimt, I can see that absolutely. Jack, we posited earlier you might be kind of walking in right behind Viola. Do you think that's the case? And tell me what details you notice about the party, about how the kind of traces of the war have been pushed to the side by people hoping to just have a good evening here.
Well, I'm following along behind like a security goon. I mean, I'm big enough and I look mean enough and odd enough that nobody's even going to question that here. And all around me, I see people who, as near as I can tell, weren't even the least bit affected by anything that happened. Their houses didn't get bombed. Their towns didn't get set ablaze. They just did whatever. They were above it somehow. Barely affected. Maybe they're nobility. Maybe they're just extraordinarily wealthy. Maybe it's both. But they don't appear to have experienced any of the consequences from the war.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that angers me.
That angers you. Yeah, you hear a peal of laughter up from kind of the back of this smoking room, and Mark Miles, this American heir, is clapping someone on the back and saying, "Oh, you're such a kidder." If my dad could see how I'm spending his money here, but fortunately, he's busy with business back in New York. Europe is my oyster. Here's to that, and raises a champagne glass. There's some clinking, and the kind of more reserved Austrians are kind of laughing politely along, right? And the American is kind of leading the revelry there at the back. There's a lot of smoke, right? So many people are smoking, mostly cigarettes though. You haven't seen any cigars broken out at this point. It's just people are working through their cigarettes. Some of that's notable because American cigarettes, at least, are hard to get at this point in the city, and yet you see a profusion of them here at this particular party.
This is supposed to be covert, correct?
As in your patron asks you not to cause a big mess while you take the cigar. Yeah, it sounds. I think he would prefer not to be reading about the mission in the papers the next day.
Damn.
Viola, what do you do?
I think Viola Viola sits down next to what is his name? Next to Mark Miles. She moves into, like the circle of guys who are laughing and joking. And she sits down and takes one of their cigarettes and starts, puffing on it and laughing along with them. And just, starts ingratiating herself, I think.
Nice. Is the idea to make like nobody question, why it is you're there? Like you're hoping to like get by without like a formal introduction per se, just suddenly be part of the crowd and incorporated into their merriment here.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think you're able to do that. In fact, surely someone has kind of like a trinket from them, so like nobody even kind of notices that move as you're arriving because you're just lucky that way. But there's kind of a moment as the conversation is going on when Mark Miles himself just suddenly focuses on you and says, hello, another American, right? I can pick us out anywhere. And like, does like a gesture indicating you and him, are the Yanks here in this European city. What do you do?
Viola flashes a smile and goes, well, we tend to stand out.
Here's to that. And he will gesture for someone to hand you a champagne glass. Probably not even gesture for anyone in particular to hand you a champagne glass, just like a gesture, and then a waiter materializes and there's a champagne glass ready to hand.
Yeah, she takes it. She's sipping.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are you hoping to do? Are you kind of pausing to take things in and plan your next step, or making a move here?
I think right now she's just positioning herself. I think this is just her getting into the right place to sort of start a con. She wants him to trust her. She wants to feel like a part of this boys' club.
I like it. If you're interested, in saying that part of what you're doing here is taking the time to decipher a person, I could have you roll that decipher move and see if you get some answers about your quarry, your mark here. Do you want to do that?
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. So when you take the time to decipher a person or situation, say if you're using natural or supernatural sense, sounds like natural. Sounds like this is just your how you operate, right?
Yeah.
Then
I would
you're
say
going to roll plus operator.
All right. That is 3 and 6, or 3 and 2, which is 5, but that is a 7.
Nice. You got a +2 operator.
Yeah.
Very handy. All right. On a 7 through 9, you get to ask one of these decipher questions, and you'll be able to roll with advantage when acting on those answers. Go ahead and did you see the list of decipher questions? There's a basic moves tab that includes them if you need it. Yeah.
So I think who's pulling the strings here?
That's a fascinating question. So you're looking around, and you've gotten the chance to see how Mark is approaching this, right? Very very much the like bon vivant air that he's giving off. But you definitely see him like looking repeatedly, when he doesn't think other people are looking at him, towards another man in this circle, an older man with a very dour face, whom let's see, whom you recognize just from moving around this city as a cultural mover and shaker. Jonas Wimmer is an Austrian conductor, for some reason it seems like Mark, is anxious that Jonas is having a good time, and like constantly like, trying to check in and make sure, and just evaluate, what impression he's making on Jonas. And Jonas, has like a fairly kind of sour expression on his face throughout, though. So there isn't, you're not sure if Mark is succeeding at whatever he's trying here, but you definitely pick up on that sense that and on some level, Jonas Wimmer is pulling the strings. I'll put a picture and a name for him into the NPCs tab.
All right, wonderful.
Let me check over with our other folks, starting with checking with Jack. Jack, you've positioned yourself kind of. You came in behind Viola, looking security guard like. Are you sticking with her that way, or trying to blend elsewhere in this crowd?
Blend. I'm still pretty obviously sticking out like a sore thumb, but I think my bodyguard cover, as it were, is relatively secure. I'm close enough to be able to act if I need to, but I'm standing far enough away so that I'm not hovering.
Yeah. As you're doing that, you notice someone doing that exact same thing, right? Standing close enough to act if needed, but trying not to appear that they're hovering. It's a kind of a hard-faced woman, who like something about her tells you she's seen combat herself. What do you pick up if you're just one and able to put that detail that tells you that? Say again.
You're roboting a little.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that while you're there, am I sounding all right now?
Yeah.
I was saying that while you're there, is in kind of position to intervene if needed, but trying not to appear like you're hovering. You catch sight of someone who's doing something very similar. Someone who appears to be, keeping watch out for Mark Miles himself. It's a hard-faced woman, and something about her tells you that she has seen combat. What is that? What do you notice?
It's her stance. I mean, scars can come from any place, but that stance comes from training. And relatively advanced training. Covert training, where you're supposed to be able to, you're supposed to seem relaxed enough to more or less blend in, but still be ready to leap into action if you have to. So there's a kind of tension in the body where you can see the person is trying not to be seen, but if you know what you're looking at, it's visible.
Yep. As you take that in, her gaze crosses towards you. What do you do?
I just stare at her. Most people can't stand looking in my eyes and my face for very long.
She stares back for a longer time than you would expect. If you do want to intimidate her more, I can there can be a role for that.
I think I'd rather decipher.
Okay, yeah. You stare at her. You notice she doesn't flinch immediately, and you're like, "Let's put the pieces together here. What's going on?" So please do roll a decipher. Are you using natural or supernatural senses here?
2 seconds here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my moves. I'll give Death some leverage to ask one from Pierce the Veil. So let me go ahead and roll for decipher, and then we'll add that in. Does that seem reasonable?
That does seem reasonable. So you're deciphering with a kind of a long, hard look, but kind of bringing in your kind of
Natural stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll plus fable.
All right, that's a 9. And fable is 0, so that's what? Ask 1?
Yeah, by default, that's ask 1.
Well, besides this hard-faced woman, what danger am I overlooking?
Nice. So you're kind of taking as given that she is dangerous, then you're not overlooking her.
Yes. I mean, one of the things you learn real quick is how to spot the most obviously dangerous person in the room. Her stance has given her away. But I don't think she's the only dangerous thing here, which is why I'm asking what I'm overlooking.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me. Right, and you're using supernatural senses. Let me put something out there. You tell me if it makes sense. We'll kind of adjust as needed based on your vision of the character. But perhaps some of those strange promptings you've sometimes gotten right from the different pieces of you that you've been put back together out of. You've kind of come to get to have like a little prickling sensation, somewhere in your body when you're near specifically kind of humans who have dabbled in the occult, right? When you're near humans who've kind of gained supernatural power, through their own initiative by delving into dark arcana. So that part of you, right? That whatever the prickle is there, and you tell me what it is. That's going off when Jonas Wimmer, the conductor, passes by you, right? Like he's stepping over to take another glass of water from another waiter. He doesn't seem to be drinking like everybody else is, and like as he passes you, you get that prickle of an occultist. Does that work for you? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what exactly is that feeling actually, and where do you sense it?
This is someone who's tried to resurrect the dead, and I feel it in my left arm. And the reason I feel it in my left arm is because this is somebody who's taken the left-hand path.
Yeah.
I managed to suppress my left arm from reaching out and trying to strangle him, but that's a bit of a struggle. And you gave death leverage to get a question from Pierce the Veil as well. So what are you choosing from that? And is there also a kind of internal feeling or an external tell when Jack kind of offers death that sort of leverage? I think to most people it just looks like he's taking a really deep breath and holding it for a second. Like he's kind of like something annoyed him and he's trying not to lash out. And then he exhales and his eyes open again. And whatever it is past. Mm-hmm. Who here has the most blood on their hands?
Yeah, that's a fascinating question.
Wow, you're taking a long time to figure this out. I mean, it must be a hell of a competition in this room.
I think the answer you get is that it's Mark Miles, but like not so as he knows it, right? Like however that kind of blood guiltiness manifests. It's like clear that he thinks his conscience is clean, but death disagrees, right? That um, and I don't know. Let's see how much detail should we proffer. Yeah, we'll say you get the sense that something he did when entrusted with some piece of his father's business cost a lot of lives, but not lives he kind of ever saw or feels any responsibility for.
So this could be something like his dad is an executive at IBM or something like that.
Yeah, well, I said the Miles fortune was made in a barbed wire in the barbed wire industry.
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going. Got it.
Cool. So if it's all right, we'll cut away for a sec from you, Jack. And Ophidar, your cousin seems excited to be here. She kind of as you are kind of looking over at this painting for a moment, she like suddenly is at your side and is like steering you away and saying, "Cousin, you can't just hang out looking at the artwork here. We have to mingle. Else, what is the point of going out to a social event like this?"
Oh, I totally intend to mingle. I just was so distracted by beauty, as I often am. But there must be more, like you.
Oh, you're too much. You're too much. But yes, there are many beautiful people here. And she kind of like, just gestures over the crowd. Who's your favorite?
Oh, this is a trap, my dear. Of course, you are my favorite.
Is this just banter, or are you?
It's just banter. I'm not trying to seduce her, but I don't. You can't go out with a beautiful woman and then say, "Oh, this person over there is more beautiful than you." You don't do that. We're not like siblings. She's my cousin, but I don't really know her that closely.
Sure. So she kind of like gives like the like tinkling laugh of like oh you flattery will get you nowhere.
Oh, flattery will get me everywhere. And I grin at her and I say, but we'll go now and mingle, and we'll stop raining on your parade. Because I see this young gentleman over there, he keeps looking at you with mooncalf's eyes. I can see that even without looking at him. Don't eat him in public.
Ophidar, is that a real thing you're pointing out, or are you mostly?
Yeah, that's a real thing I'm pointing out. I'm also trying to get over to do our score, but I think she is a socialite. She looks fabulous. There will be people who are mooning about her and want to talk to her, and not to me, because I'm not the thing that is interesting to these people. But I will try to find somebody who's interested in cigars, maybe.
I might ask you to roll distractor trick, actually, because you were basically like fobbing your cousin off, right?
Okay. I am absolutely going to distract or trick. I roll plus operator.
That's how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, but I am not too bad at that, I guess. I'm not Dave. Go away. Sorry with this crayfish. Where are my dice? Oh, I rolled a 9, so I got an 11.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So you are a smooth operator indeed. You get to choose. You get to choose 2 from the distract, or choose 3 from the distractor trick list.
Wow. Okay. So I want to create an opportunity for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't want to throw someone else under the bus at this point, because why would I do that?
So like as you're saying this, you're like, don't eat him in public. You then like pull your cousin back. You're like, no, I mean it. Don't.
Yeah. But I definitely keep her confused or distracted at that point for more than a moment or two. She's I think she's meeting actually some people she wants to talk to. And at that point, I can also create an opportunity for myself, which is nice, because I really want to find somebody to talk to about smoking, actually, because I have smoked my cigarette, and now I'm find myself at a loss because my cigarette case is empty.
I see. Yeah, a tragedy indeed.
Yes, and I will kind of, I think, stand there and look at my cigarette case with this forlorn look on my face, like, oh my gosh, I don't have a cigarette. And I will, of course, aim to stand near some people who are smoking and who have cigarettes and who might be inclined to talk to a friendly young person who is sadly in need of
something to smoke.
Something to smoke, yes. And thus naturally starting a discussion about smoking materials.
This is great. Are you? So is this? Are you like angling yourself towards kind of Mark Miles and his hangers-on here, or are you? Starting at the periphery and working your way in.
Gravitating into his periphery slowly. But I want to find somebody who can really. I have this move where I can talk. Where I can tell people tales of the netherworld, and I'm looking for someone I can tell a tale about the leaves of the moonlit flowers in the garden of death. So, and what it would be like to smoke a cigar made from them. Imagine.
You've got an exciting tale to share. What sort of a person are you trying to? You're trying to find the person who looks like the most kind of smoking aficionado at this party.
Yeah, I guess somebody who would be a smoking aficionado, somebody who would also be open to tales of the netherworld. I mean, I don't want to speak to some kind of person who will tell me then of the Amazon jungle and why it needs to be burned down because there is a lot of jungle and there are savages in there or something like some such nonsense.
So someone with an open mind.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Great. We'll say that you find a you've created a good opportunity here. So we'll say you find someone who is like a cigar sommelier, right?
Oh.
Like whose whole kind of his whole art here is finding the best of the best and connecting it with people who can pay for the best of the best. Generating a name, Florian Shifter, smoking aficionado and cigar sommelier. How does that sound?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this this man looks you up and down, right? You had appeared with an empty cigarette case, and he steps in to assist because he doesn't like to see people without something in their hands,
And I will, of course, voice my utter gratitude to him as a fellow tobacconist and aficionado of the smoking art. Oh, I know that many people do not view that as an art, but it kind of is, isn't it?
Oh, indeed. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because after the war, people acted like it was an indulgence, a shallow luxury to care about what we smoked. But are we really a civilized people if we don't care about these things? It is precisely the trifles that are the most tremendous in this regard. Don't you agree?
Of course I do. There is such a tremendous difference and nuance in the different tastes. I mean, if you smoke and then I will babble on about cigarettes. I don't smoke and I have no idea, but I will go on about Cuba and the Amazons and Brazil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think Ofidar actually likes to smoke. So he actually knows a bit about this whole thing. I mean, it's not total bullshit what he's saying. It's probably a bit superficial because he usually doesn't smoke. He usually doesn't care that much. But talking about it, he kind of finds himself interested, actually.
Okay. I kind of feel like this is an opportunity. So if you're triggering the playbook move, we can go right to that. But if not, there's another move that comes.
I want to trigger the playbook move. I want to, after we have gone a bit Cuba and Brazil, I will then go on to the more fantastic and exotic tastes.
That let's do that. Yeah, you. I believe you make a roll when you
fable.
Attend the tale.
Yes. Should I read it out?
Please do. Yeah, good idea.
When you regale a denizen of Vienna with tales of the nether realm or vice versa, roll plus fable. Let's see how that goes. Fable.
And you created an opportunity for yourself with your last roll, so you can take advantage on this. So you can roll 3 dice and choose the 2 you want.
Okay, so I roll another one. Where are you? Come here. Yes. Ooh, nice. That was well done because that brings it up to a 10.
Excellent. Tell us the rest of the move there.
10 plus choose 2. I can you convince them that what they need is in the other place. Take leverage on them. You successfully convey the dangers of the other place. Mark XP. You elicit their true feelings about their home or the other place. Well, actually, I want to convince them that what they need is in the other place. I want to take leverage on him.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Tell me a little about what you're picturing. Tell me a little about what you're picturing here for this. How you spin out this tale and take that leverage.
Well, what I'm telling him is basically that if he really wants to, if he's really curious about this, I can get him something like that. And that's how I take leverage. And that's how I mark XP, but because I tell him that it's risky. It's fraught with danger. You lose. You stand to lose more than a memory.
Yeah. So like,
if you don't do it right.
Yeah. So like he kind of at first was sort of leaning back, smoking himself, and then like by the time you've like finished with this story, he's like leaning in and like not even noticing that his like fingers are being singed by the cigarette that's like burnt down to the bottom. He like glances at it, like shakes it aside into an ashtray, and he says, "Indeed. Well, I have to admit it all sounds rather fantastical, but you've piqued my interest."
Wow.
What was your name again?
Ofidar Selma. No, what is Selma? Selma.
Ofidar, if you can really get your hands on the merchandise you're talking about here, I can find people who would give an arm and a leg for that, and I certainly can't call myself a cigar sommelier if I don't take the chance to give it a puff. And
I'm absolutely not looking in Jack Hardisty's direction when he says this thing about an arm and a leg. But I will then try to use my leverage to get him to talk about other fabulous cigars. maybe that might be on the premises or something. Like I've heard that this young American fancies himself kind of a connoisseur.
Nice. You're just hoping to get him to spill the beans, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, got the leverage for that. I think that can just happen, right? Like you rolled really well. You've pulled him in. You've kind of convinced him you've got something. You've got a way to get something you can't get anywhere else. So I think he kind of like as you've kind of dropped these hints, he says oh but our host has something very very unique for us. You must come with me, right? And he kind of like starts like pulling you over towards Mark Miles.
Okay.
Check Viola. You definitely see this. You see that Ofidar has buttonholed this nice gentleman in a tweed jacket with a very fancy cigarette, with some very fancy cigarettes poking out of his pockets, right? And you are you are there, starting your work on Mark Miles when Ofidar is approaching as well. So what do you do? What do we see if we check back in on Viola? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I think Viola. I think that Viola is more interested in Jonas Wimmer than Mark. I think Jonas is who she wants to sort of move her target to.
I see.
So I think, also pretty smoothly, she's gonna, stand up and sort of excuse herself, and then sweep past Jonas, and I think she is going to. She reaches into her coat and she pulls out like a fancy cigarette case, and she pops it open and sort of offers it to him to get his attention, but she's still walking a little bit further away from the circle to try and draw him out, get him a little bit more on his own.
I see. Yeah. He takes the cigarette you offer, but doesn't light it or smoke it. He's just kind of like, worrying it with his hands a little, and looking at you, closely, saying, Fraulein, have we met somewhere before?
Viola looks at him and she shakes her head, but she goes, "No, but I love your music."
Is out of character? Is that true?
I pretty well ensconced in the art scene in like just sort of the European art scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think that her personal taste is. I think she has a very eclectic taste, and what she likes and doesn't like is pretty fickle. But she is more than willing to lie about it, lie about anything to get her way. So
that's great. I think like, as you say that you love his music, his eyes narrow a little, right? And he says, "Oh, any concerto in particular?" And I'm going to ask you to roll maintain your cover.
Yes.
Since you've now adopted a kind of a stance here, right? A way of getting close to this guy.
Yeah.
So on that one, you get to choose the label, right? You get to decide what sort of a front you're putting up exactly.
Okay. This seems like an operator thing to me.
That works for me, yeah. And yeah, go ahead and roll with operator for that then.
Okay, that is 6 and 4, so that is 12.
Wow. You guys are just so good at this. Nothing bad is ever going to happen to you.
I think there's a piano in the corner, and she goes, "Oh well, the concerto in F major is just beautiful," and she sits down and plays like the first couple bars of it, just very well.
That's perfect. And he like for the first time you see like the ghost of a smile on his face here. Like he does not seem to be enjoying this party. Unclear what he's even getting out of being here, because he's not drinking. He isn't even smoking, right? He's just worried that cigarette you handed him down to a stub. But like as you play his music, the flicker of happiness appears on his face there. Because you rolled so well, you gain insight, and you can ask me, the MC, one question. So what do you want? And that's not from a list of questions. That's an open question.
My question is he a cigar smoker?
An interesting question. I think yeah, you know what, you get lucky, right? That's your thing. So to a flash of insight, as the kind of conversation is turned to cigars around Mark, and Jonas kind of like looks back in that direction, like he's caught the word. So I think you can make the leap of logic and decide that he's here also interested in that very particular cigar that you've been hired to acquire. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's great.
Real quick, Jack, when Viola walked kind of away, did you kind of stay like equidistant from her, like kind of shadowing her more like you were doing previously, or kind of stay closer to the target whom you've now learned more interesting things about? What do you do?
If I want to make this seem like I'm actually there for the purpose that everyone thinks I am, I have to stay close, or at least close enough.
Mm-hmm. So sticking.
I really want to throw that little shit through a window.
I like it. You are staying kind of attached to Viola then, but occasionally like an angry look, casting an angry look towards Mark.
Oh, I'm better than that.
Oh,
I mean, just because I want to throw the little shit through a window doesn't mean that I'm mad dogging him from across the room. No, I'm acting like security staff. I'm scanning the room, watching for threats, staying close enough to act, far enough away that I can't readily overhear what she's saying unless she's raising her voice.
Cool. The woman that you clocked earlier,
Woman with the hard face.
Woman with the hard face moves, kind of moves like she's trying to keep her sight line on you, and if the approach here is try to make it look like you're just a security guard, nothing else. I think I want to ask you to roll maintain your cover.
I'm sure this will go swimmingly.
Yeah. So you decide which label you're rolling with for that.
Mm. Since this is backing someone up, I think this is Dreamer.
Okay. So your front is that you're here as support, and so you're kind of showing putting up the persona of being Viola's strong second here. Yeah, go ahead and roll plus Dreamer.
It's no, that's a 7. It's 5 on the dice, and then the 2 for the Dreamer.
Nice. 5 on the dice, 2 for the Dreamer. Cool. On 7 through 9, the MC will tell you what compromise or hard choice you must make. Okay, nice. Yeah. I think she actually approaches you, right? So like you're kind of keeping up the front of security for Viola, and then this woman comes over and like says like in like a level tone, but since there's people speaking more raucously around the room, she's not saying this so that anyone else is particularly going to hear it, right? She says, security also. Whose kid is she? Like kind of like little like head nod towards Viola, and like so you have the sense that your cover is holding, and she's kind of sees you as a fellow bodyguard, but she's curious about who else is on these premises. What do you do?
I want to tag idealistic.
All right, so that's one of your release moves, I think. Tell me about that. That's call out or rebuke hypocrisy.
I can trigger each release move once per session to clear a stress or mark XP. Idealistic is indeed calling out or rebuking hypocrisy.
All right, what happens?
She's someone who doesn't have as much blood on her hands as your client. She didn't sell barbed wire to the Nazis.
Yeah, there's a flash in this woman's eyes. Go ahead and just I don't know when you'll get a name from her in the fiction, but I'm going to go ahead and give her a name for ease of reference. This is Lena. So a flash in Lena's eyes as you say this, and it's not just like a flash of anger. There's a tiny like crackle of electricity as she reacts to that, and she reaches out, like kind of puts like a finger on your chest and says, "I don't know what you think you know, but keep your distance from Mr. Miles if you know what's good for you."
We were both soldiers. I can see it in you. And if you're here, we fought the same enemy. And now you're defending somebody who supported them. My conscience is clear. How's yours doing right now?
I want to pause right there for a second.
Okay.
Pick up right with that, but let's take a 5-minute bio break. So
Sure.
Back here in 5, and we'll resolve from there. Cool.
Great.
All right, we'll pick up again because things are getting dramatic, and Sabine will join when they return. Yeah. So, Jack, you say that you are calling out hypocrisy. Lena has like a finger to your chest, and you like feel like a tiny electrical tingle there. Here's my question: are you trying to inspire her to action, and if so, what action?
I would like to inspire her to action, and the action I would like to inspire her to is quitting. Not just because I want to throw our boss out the window, which I would not do since we're operating in a relatively covert fashion at the moment, but because she's a soldier. She was. And every soldier swears an oath. That oath doesn't stop when you leave the service. Apparently, it doesn't even stop after you're dead.
Yeah. In that case, roll plus Dreamer when you inspire someone to action. With the idea here that you're trying to basically calling her out and trying to get her to turn her back on this, right?
I'm appealing to her better angels.
All right. Let's see how that goes.
It's a 9.
Nice. Okay. So choose one. Choose carrot or stick from the inspired action list. There's an option where you are offering a bonus to the character if they do go.
You're roboting really bad there.
Something. Okay, sorry. Let me go back. You got a 9 on inspire someone into action, meaning you can choose the carrot or the stick. Are you incentivizing her to go along, or are you making it harder for her if she doesn't want to go along?
Oh, I want to inspire her to do the right thing. I don't want to punish her into doing it.
Got it. So she can clear a condition if she goes along with you. Yeah, I think you see her eyes narrow. You feel like a stronger kind of tingling electrical charge from her hand, and then she pulls her hand away, and she says, "God damn it, you don't know the first thing about me."
You were a soldier once.
But
I'm sorry, you broke up again.
Yeah. She's kind of like shaking her head, and like grinding her teeth audibly as she says, "They won't let me stop being one."
You don't have to be one for him.
She takes one last look over at Mark Miles, back to you, and then kind of sets her face and walks right out of the hotel. Who knows where she's going, but something about your words got through to her, Jack.
Amazing what happens when you're a bodyguard, isn't it? Just a simple bullet sponge for somebody who doesn't deserve it. Well, Viola deserves it. To have a bullet sponge, that is.
Ophidar, you have managed to like bring up the topic of cigars as you've brought your sommelier friend over to Mark Miles, who kind of greets him warmly and says,
Sorry, I wonder, because I've seen the release moves. Have I fed Mr. what was the name? Florian's biases? I will. I mean, I will. I haven't yet, but I have promised that I would, and I will. So I don't know if that counts. Probably not. So
Yeah.
just wondering.
Here's the question, right? Like, is do you, from your perspective, Ofidar, is his line of work, right? His tobacconist approach, is that a vice, or is there a different vice in here, right? Are you kind of like leaning on his his kind of desire to like be in amongst the elite and know things no one else knows, right? Like,
what I'm trying to do here is to create a vice.
Oh, you're trying to kind of get him on the hook for the netherworld materials that he can't find elsewhere.
As long as I'm here and he seems nice and the whole idea is nice, and what the hell, I mean, But that's probably a project for the future. Right now, I can maybe go and talk to Mr. Miles about cigars.
We've gotten the like idea of underworld cigars on the table. You can go ahead and take the XP for enabling. That's a once per session thing, and I'm sure we'll find ways in future sessions for you to, come back around to that. So with Florian there, Mark is kind of breaking out his cigars, and you see him open a case, and he's choosing several like high quality Cuban cigars and handing them around, but retaining in the case that black wrapped cigar with those with that particular monogram on it that you'd heard about from your client. So you have eyes on it.
That's the one we're supposed to steal, right?
That's the one you're supposed to steal. Yeah, he's handing other cigars out. They're starting to get lit and smoked, but you just spot still like nestled away at the back of his case that cigar.
Okay, I'm not a pickpocket, so I don't see anything in my character that would tell me that he's a pickpocket anyway. So I will mark this, and then I will, of course, make a bit small talk, take a cigar, stay around, and then look out where the others are, because right now I can't distract him, but I need to have somebody there to take advantage of the distraction. If there's nobody there, then I can distract him all I want. The cigar won't walk away on its own.
So is what you're trying to do distract Mark while like signaling for Viola to come back over here?
I'm just looking. No, I'm just I'm just trying to find out where my two co-conspirators are at this point, just for me to see where everybody is, and to get us all on the same ground, so that we can figure out what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll say you're able to spot that that Viola is over by the piano, and Jack, appears to have just finished a conversation with a woman who's now stalking out of the hotel. Was it something he said? So Ofidar, what do you do?
I think I will do exactly that. I will start to try to talk to him and distract him, and hopefully distract him in a way that will give an advantage to either Viola or Jack, to either steal the cigar or throw him out of the window, which I don't know anything about, but sounds like it could be fun anyway. Hey, can I turn him to stone in the middle of being thrown out the window? No, I don't know anything about that. So, yeah, right, I'm trying.
Roll plus operator to distract him. Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Wow. Okay, this dice roller likes me. I've got a 12.
A 12? Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled a 10, and I've got a 2 in operators. So, sorry. I choose 2. So I will. I think I will create an opportunity for somebody else who gets advantage. And I think what I also choose. Oh, I got to choose 3. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus at that point. Because why would I?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, expose a weakness or secret and gain leverage. That might come in handy.
Yeah. Who are you trying to gain leverage over here?
Yeah, the guy here, Mark Miles.
Yeah.
The owner of the cigarette. If he's not the owner, then, well, okay. Then I wonder what he's doing with it.
Yeah, cool. But you what exactly is the distraction? The distraction just your lighting up a cigar of your own and chatting with him, or what?
I'm chatting with him about cigars and where they come from and what Florian told me about this amazing things, and I mean, I'll let him guide the. I think let him guide the conversation a bit. I mean, this is his party, so he can let him just. I'll just be there and listen to him and make appreciative noises and look at him like he's the most fascinating person in the world, and then look away before he becomes even more fascinating.
Oh, he's eating it up, right? Like the fact that you're looking at him and then looking away, he's like, clearly someone like dazzled, by me, and so he's preening absolutely, and as he yeah.
You're roboting, but I take it he's susceptible to flattering.
Oh, absolutely.
You were roboting, and I think the secret might be that he's so susceptible to flattery.
Yeah, I was saying that he's kind of, lapping up this attention and clearly like preening a little. That's certainly a weakness. I think the additional secret is just, he starts to sit, he's like reminiscing about going on, trips around the globe with his parents, and like starts to say something about his mother, and then like interrupts himself, stops, and like starts telling a different story, and it's clear that his mother is a sensitive subject. So there's another like bit of leverage for you there.
Oh, okay.
But you've created a distraction. You've proffered an advantage. Viola, are you going to try to take advantage of that?
I think I am. Yeah. Viola. So I think Viola, because she gets the clue, she notices something. I don't know what she would notice. She notices that he's holding a cigar cutter, and she sees that, and she was like, "Oh, I get it." And when the cigars start to be handed out, she goes, "Oh, well, I'm sure you would love one of those." So, and she sweeps him, and she goes, along out there with him.
Mm-hmm.
And as he is being handed a cigar, she's going to try and grab the special one.
just making a grab for the black cigar.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, reach in there and grab it and hope he thinks I'm just grabbing a regular one for myself.
Nice. Yeah, I think you take the black cigar, and and it's like, all right, claim the prize, and then like a moment later, Mark is like, oh, sorry, not that one, I'm saving that one, and like reaches out to like take it back from you.
Yeah, and Viola looks at him and she goes, "Oh, look, my father imported a lot of Cubans. I know what a good cigar is." And she turns around and walks off.
So your plan is just to walk away at this point.
Well, she'll see how he reacts, but she's going to turn around, certainly.
Yeah. As you turn, like he grabs your shoulder, like slightly roughly, and says, "Look, Miss, don't mean to be a less than magnanimous host, but that was not one I'm just handing out, okay?"
Get your hands off my client.
Yeah, when he grabs her, it visibly like recoils and like makes a noise, so all the people in the room like turn and see.
Oh, great! And Jack is suddenly there.
Yeah, to like frame him, make him look like this dipshit.
Has Mark realized that his bodyguard is gone?
Are you stepping in close as you're saying, "Get your hands off my client"?
I have removed his hand from my client.
Yeah, as you
Not painfully, just removed it.
as you do that, he like looks around like he's expecting her to be like right there, and like his eyes go wide that she's not right. And as you kind of have taken his hand off, he says, "Do you have any idea who I am?"
Indeed, I do. And now so does your ex-bodyguard. Tell me, how do you want to leave here tonight? Would you like to take the stairs or would you like the express exit?
I feel like you're trying to intimidate him.
Sure.
So it,
Just to interject a moment,
yeah.
one of my release actions is capricious. Flee a situation you've made more difficult. And I think
Jack,
now is a good time.
You're just out of there, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So Jack, moves the hand, and now he's staring at Jack, and they are in this stare down. And when that happens, Viola just walks out. So she pockets the cigar and just leaves.
I will position myself so that you can't see her directly, just like I'm standing there and gazing at him like he's behaving totally unreasonable. Like, what? Why this fuss? It's just a cigar, like any other.
This is great. Viola, I'm gonna have you roll Get Out. And but yeah, you're definitely making a beeline for the exit here, taking the cigar with you. Do you think this is you're getting out just by charging full speed ahead, right? So I'm gonna have you roll plus weapon here actually, because it's less a out than a breakout. Just
that's true.
Your brazenness is what you're leaning on, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What was that? What did you roll?
That's a 1 and a 4, that's a 6.
That's great.
That advantage I gave before, did you ever use it?
Oh yeah, that's true. I
Roll
never did use that advantage.
Roll more dice. There was an advantage with that distraction.
4 and a 4, so that is a 9.
Okay, cool. So in that case, you are gonna make it, right? On a hit, you make it. On a 7 through 9, you leave something important behind or take something difficult with you.
I think that is sort of the definition of what I'm doing.
yeah, and since more of like a sort of overhead threat thing, I think you spot as you leave. Jonas Wimmer has not stayed to see this confrontation, but has stepped out of the hotel and is watching you go, and like even like actually it's a spy movie, like holds up his like wrist and like you like see like a camera flash from his watch as you're making your getaway here. So just mark just one stress from that.
Okay.
And then we'll step back inside. Jack, do you still have like Mark's hand in your hand as you're asking him whether he wants to take the stairs or the express route out?
Well, Viola's exit made everything more tense, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Then I think it would make sense for me to still have his wrist in my hand.
Yeah. Then so the move to intimidate someone, unless you have like a lot of leverage to exert, which I don't think you do, right? You don't actually have leverage on Mark. So one move that's possible here is get spooky, right? When you get spooky by letting out your inhuman side to intimidate someone, reshape the environment, or overcome an obstacle, roll plus fable. So there's a couple uses, but one of them is just to like put the fear of God or something into someone in front of you. Does that sound like what you're doing?
Can Mark retaliate against me?
Not with his bodyguard gone necessarily. I guess. I mean, he could probably find a way if his back were against the wall, but you have like deprived him of one of his major weapons already.
Is he still being a jerk?
He's like spluttering and you know, kind of,
Because he said, "Do you know who my father is?" Didn't he?
Oh, he
Something
did.
like that?
Absolutely.
Alexi, if it's okay with you, instead of intimidating him, I just not like to resort to violence.
What do you do?
Describe Mark a little bit to me. What kind of build or frame does he have? Are we talking prep school kid who did a lot of crew? Or are we talking some scrawny little pencil neck who just did a lot of math and probably got picked on? I mean,
I don't think he did a lot of math. Here he is. Like,
oh God, I hate him even more now.
Preppy is absolutely the word. You know, maybe he played a sport. You know, you've got some height on him though, I'm sure.
Yeah, that dude played lacrosse. I'm just gonna lift him out of his chair by his arm.
Ooh, yeah,
just straight up one hand him. I mean, I'm undead. I have more strength than is quite literally humanly possible. So I'm just gonna like lift him out of his chair by his arm and let him dangle there.
Let's see the resort to violence roll.
That is, for a second it was boxcars, and then one of the other dice flipped over. That is a 7, and weapon is 1.
Okay. On an 8, you get to choose one from the resort to violence list.
War is hell, and I love it. When you resort to violence against someone you judge to have really deserved it, choose an additional option, even on a miss.
Okay, you get to choose 2 options because you've certainly judged that he deserves this.
I don't end up entangled with them or caught, and I take something away from him.
What do you want to take away from him?
I'm going to throw his ass out the window and kill him.
Well, that's a way to approach it. Okay. Yeah. So you've like got him up by his arm, and like his like spluttering has like.
Excuse me. Sorry. I think this is a bit more violent than I'm comfortable with, actually.
Okay. So let's rewind. I don't get entangled or caught. What if I take away his sense of invulnerability because of who his father is, because of his financial position? If he now knows he is reachable and he is touchable, and that he is not protected.
So it's the sort of thing where you've like got him lifted up, dangling by his arm, and then you just like kind of like roughly toss him back into his chair, and it like tips over. So like he's like kind of thoroughly, you know, flat-footed by this.
If I may.
Yeah.
I just hold him there. For in situations like this, they never last very long, but they seem to last forever. You know, it's that tunnel vision you get from adrenaline. And I'm just staring him in the face with my dead eyes. And I say, "You have been seen for who you truly are, you wretched little worm. I know how you made your money. I know what you've done. Make very sure I never see you again. In fact, leave this town tonight and never come back. Next time, I won't be gentle. And then I gently lower him to the floor, straighten his lapels, pat him on the cheek with one hand, turn around and walk out.
I'm taking his cigars.
Just, you guys have already stolen the one you were hired to get, but you just like, swoop down and like grab
I mean, that's a nice case. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I bet this puts a little damper on the party. So like as you guys walk out, there's like, less that air of kind of jubilation and more kind of like just consternation and whispering. And probably as the camera pulls out, we like see, or as the camera pulls out, we get the overlaid audio of like whispering through the city. Like, did you see that? The Miles kid, this huge hulking guy, right? And there's this kind of sense of just word of what just happened here, spreading all through Vienna. But you guys have acquired the cigar, so you can call that mission a success, I would say. Yeah, everyone mark an XP for that. Why not? And in case you were having trouble finding, there's an advancement tab which has more adventures. I'm sure there'll be interesting ramifications of all that's gone down here. But for the time being, thank you for playing. And if anyone's watching this, thanks for watching or listening. This has been Checkpoint Midnight, and we'll be back with more of Spies in the City of Dreams later on.